What is up, everyone? Welcome back to USAI, your home for the biggest stories in sports and beyond. It is Saturday, December 27th, 2025, and if you thought the Christmas festivities were over, the Premier League just told us to hold its beer. We have just witnessed one of the most frantic, goal-heavy Saturday afternoon windows of the entire season. From Anfield to the Emirates, the title race has been turned on its head, and the battle for Europe is heating up like a midwinter bonfire. We've got a lot to get into today. Manchester City survived a war in Nottingham to temporarily reclaim the top spot. Arsenal responded with a dominant display against Brighton and Liverpool well. Liverpool simply exploded into life with 2 goals in less than 90 seconds. If you missed the action, don't worry, I've got you covered with every goal, every assist, and every controversial moment. Let's dive straight into the drama at Anfield. Segment 1. Liverpool versus Wolves. The 89-second blitz. We start at a very emotional Anfield. Before a ball was even kicked, there was a beautiful, somber tribute for the former Reds forward Diogo Jota. Seeing Virgil van Dijk walk out with Jota's children was a moment that transcended football, and the entire stadium stood as one to pay their respects. But once the whistle blew, it was all business for Arne Slot's men. For the first 40 minutes, it looked like it was going to be one of those days for Liverpool. They were utterly dominant at one point. Stats showed Liverpool had over 100 passes in the final third compared to Wolves' 8. Hugo Ekitike was causing problems, but hit the post with a curled effort that had the cop ready to celebrate. Wolves were hanging on by a thread, but that thread finally snapped in the 41st minute. The breakthrough came from Reijnders. Jeremy Frimpong, who was electric all day, danced past 2 defenders on the right wing and pulled back a perfect cross. Gravenberch didn't hesitate, smashing a low-driven finish into the bottom corner. But before the Wolves players could even regroup, Liverpool struck again just 89 seconds later. This time, it was the German playmaker Florian Wirtz. Ekitike found some space in the middle, slipped a perfectly weighted pass to Wirtz, and he showed incredible composure to prod it home for his first-ever Liverpool goal. Anfield absolutely erupted. That 1-2 punch effectively ended the contest, leaving Wolves in damage limitation mode for the rest of the game. Liverpool are looking like a serious force again as they climb back toward the top 4. Segment 2. Arsenal versus Brighton. Odegaard leads the charge meanwhile at the Emirates. The league leaders Arsenal were under immense pressure. With Manchester City winning their early kickoff, the Gunners knew anything less than 3 points would see them lose their grip on first place. And let me tell you, Mikel Arteta's side played like a team that refused to be moved. From the first whistle, Arsenal were completely dominant. Brighton, who are usually so good at playing out from the back, looked suffocated. The Gunners' midfield, led by the returning Martin Odegaard and the tireless Declan Rice, simply didn't allow the Seagulls to breathe. The breakthrough came in the 14th minute, and it was a landmark moment for Bukayo Saka. Saka took on to Kuiper on the right, drove to the byline, and cut it back for Odegaard, who finished with his trademark precision. That assist officially moved Bukayo Saka into 7th place on Arsenal's all-time Premier League goal involvement list. He was a constant nightmare for Brighton's defense all afternoon. However, despite the dominance, there was a sense of nervousness among the fans. Arsenal had chance after chance to make it 2-0, but the clinical edge was missing. Former pro Andy Reid, speaking on BBC Radio 5 Live, noted that while Arsenal deserved the lead, Brighton remained in a decent shape, waiting for that one counterattack. Fortunately for the North London faithful, Brighton barely laid a glove on David Raya's goal. It was a professional, high-intensity performance that keeps the title race on a knife edge. Segment 3. Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City, the cherki masterclass now. We have to talk about what happened at the City ground. This was not a pretty win for Pep Guardiola, but it might be the most important win of their season so far. Nottingham Forest, under Sean Dyche, turned this game into a literal war. The first half was a techie, physical affair with 0 shots on target for either side. Erling Haaland was kept remarkably quiet, touching the ball only 6 times in the opening 45 minutes. But the second half was a completely different story. Just 3 minutes after the restart, City's summer signing Cherki took control. He slipped a sensational killer pass through the Forest defense to tijjani reijnders, who finished calmly to give City the lead. But Forest didn't fold. It's only 6 minutes later, Igor Jesus, who was a handful for Ruben Dias, all day whipped in a cross that Omari Hutchinson buried from close range. It was Hutchinson's first goal for the club, and the City ground was shaking. The game tied 1-1, and City looking wobbly stepped forward rayan cherki once again. In the 83rd minute, a loose ball fell to the Frenchman just inside the box, and he lashed an unstoppable volley through a crowd of players into the net. He celebrated by mimicking Haaland's famous lotus pose, a sign of his growing confidence in this team. City held on for a 2-1 win, their 8th victory in a row in all competitions. Pep Guardiola's celebration with his coaching staff said it all. They knew they escaped a very dangerous trap today. Segment 4, Brentford versus Bournemouth, the G-Tech thriller. Finally. Let's head to West London for Brentford versus Bournemouth. This was a game of what just happened. Brentford got off to a flyer when Kevin Shade ended his 6-game goal drought with a clinical opener just 7 minutes in. But the real drama came late in the first half. In a moment, he'll want to forget. Bournemouth goalkeeper George Petrovic was credited with a horror-own goal that put the Bees 2-0 up going into the break. Brentford, who have struggled for clean sheets recently, looked rejuvenated at home. Bournemouth have now gone 8 games without a win, and Andoni Iraola will be looking over his shoulder as they slide closer to the relegation scrap. For Brentford, this win puts them within touching distance of the European spots, proving once again that the G-Tech Community Stadium is one of the toughest places to visit in the league. Outro. What a day of football. As it stands, the Premier League table is an absolute mess in the best way possible. Manchester City are pushing Arsenal to the limit. Liverpool are finding their clinical edge. The mid-table battle is shifting every single week. I want to hear from you guys who was your player of the match today. Was it rayan cherki for his match-winning performance at Forest? Or maybe Bukayo Saka for reaching that incredible milestone for Arsenal? And Liverpool fans, how excited are you to see Florian Wirtz finally get off the mark at Anfield?